Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On the Mic with Mike. ESPN Richmond 106.1 is where you find us 5 to 7 a.m. I say to you, we bring you the best and the brightest. That's what we do every day. With us today, we got rocking with me, Charles Wilson of CW Consulting. Welcome back, sir.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here.
All righty. And with us, we bring in the man right here. Now, this is a man of a thousand hats. Dale Fickett always got a bunch of things going on, whether it's RVA Works, 1 Million Cups. Is it Liberty?
Yeah. We're getting some conversations going with Liberty University as well. So there's a lot of things on the agenda, Mike, a lot of good things to discuss, and happy to be here with you and with Charles.
All righty. All right, real quickly, go down the list of things that you got working on and what's new and exciting in your world, because it's always something.
Yeah, so a few different things. RVA Works, everything's rolling along. In terms of the 1 Million Cups program, in terms of the Adult Evening Accelerator, all that's going well. Really strong balance sheet for our nonprofit, extensive group of about 40 people that volunteer for us, going through a whole strategic planning cycle on that. We have a new initiative rolling out called Open Trellis. So happy to talk about what that will mean. I suppose the other things are we have a few grant opportunities in the pipeline. So that's nice, leveraging some of our national relationships. And then you had mentioned Liberty University. So, in discussions with them about what we can do to help in terms of state level economic development, but also, teaching students about how to think through entrepreneurial opportunities. So lots of really good things in the pipeline.
One of the good things I always love about this program, I brought Charles Wilson in because I knew it'd be a natural match. Charles, really give Dale an overview of your program, what you're doing as far as training people in the trades.
Yeah, no problem. We, under my company's umbrella, CW Consulting Group, we rolled out in December a effort called the Legacy Builders Apprenticeship Academies. And underneath it, we are going to ensure that we provide the training necessary to sort of build up this skilled workforce, specifically in the building trades and in the energy utility sector. So with the first location we have on the north side of the city, we have our second cohort that are being certified and credentialed in commercial and residential carpentry. And in our second location, which will be in North Chesterfield, 2500 Turner Road, we're going to then later this summer roll out our HVAC and electrical cohorts where individuals will be credentialed. And the whole intent is to make sure we're ready. I specifically target people in low income and diverse backgrounds and neighborhoods and communities, so that we can see more of that diversity and representation in a number of the projects we have going on in the city, from the potential casino to the public safety building to in Rico, we have the Green City project going on. So we just want to make sure we have people skilled, ready to take on those opportunities.
So Dale, that's Charles Wilson, CW Consulting. How can people find you out there?
Yeah, I can be emailed at charles@cwconsultinggroup.com. The website is www.cwconsultinggroup.com, 2 G's in there. And I can be contacted directly at 773-332-9387.
He's also a radio talk show personality. How can people find you there?
You can tune in on The Choice 105.3 Wednesdays at 2:30 from 2:30 to 3 for The Nexus with Charles Wilson. Thank you.
So Dale, that's what I want to do is because you know a ton of people who can benefit from what he's doing, as well as help him get to where he needs to go to. So that's the connection there. We'll make the connection offline here. Okay, so let's go down. 1 Million Cups. Is it back in person, or what's on the agenda for you guys?
So 1 Million Cups is staying for now on Zoom. We are almost certainly going to continue on Zoom indefinitely. The question will be when we resume in person and do hybrid events. So through June, July, we have a great lineup of speakers, different entrepreneurs and innovators coming in to share their business model, talk about what they're doing, their personal passion, to engage with other entrepreneurs. And it ends up being really valuable for anyone who's thinking through a new business idea, because it provides essentially a free entree into the startup community. There's no ticket price for that, and people learn from each other. So it's actually a really valuable learning and connecting experience. So we'll see about when the hybrid events will get going with some in-person meetings. I think that's most likely to start in probably August or September. We're just waiting on some determinations from VCU about, opening the doors for public events.
So I have a question for you. What's the feedback been for those past participants and what they really took away from it that really helped them in their entrepreneurial aspirations?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Charles, and kudos to you for the work that you're doing in the residential housing sector, and what you're doing with training folks who are coming from some backgrounds where they're facing barriers to getting involved in those particular apprenticeship programs. So thank you for the work that you're doing there. I think that's great, and as you said, Mike, a natural complement to the things that we're doing. Sure. So the answer on feedback is that there's a number of things. So the first thing is people are able to think through their business model. They're learning from someone who's on stage, so to speak, who's presenting. So they're able to apply what that person's doing to their own thinking and their own business model. So that's one. The second is that people are learning as they're asking questions, providing feedback for the speaker. So the speaker themselves is benefiting a great deal as they clarify in their own minds exactly what they're providing, who they're providing it to, what sort of revenue streams they have, cost structure, and so forth. So there's a lot of fairly detailed feedback that we provide to the speakers themselves. The third area is really around connecting with other entrepreneurs. And so a lot of the mentorship programs tend to focus on people who are seasoned executives. And by the way, that's great to get input from people who have an extensive degree of experience from, a corporate career. But we've also found that entrepreneurs benefit a great deal from peer learning. And so we love those sort of environments where people are connecting with other entrepreneurs and having subsequent conversations offline. Some of those conversations have actually turned into partnerships where people have sort of joined forces together in a formal way. And then the fourth area I would mention is what most people think of in terms of these sort of connecting events. Of course, there's always a degree of this that can be utilized through those connections to develop localized sales that are Richmond focused. But we're pretty specific about the fact that this is more of a connection and community building exercise. It's not really networking for the sake of sales, but sales do come as a consequence.
On the mic with Mike, Charles Wilson, Dale Fickett here with us. We're on ESPN Richmond 106.1. We're bringing the game changers to you. That's what we're doing today. Dale, we got to go away for a moment. I always say the microphone ain't free. Plus, my grandkids need stuff. So we'll be back in just a moment. We'll more with these rock star gentlemen.
We're only 8 minutes in, just so you know. We're only 8 minutes in, just so you know.
Okay.
So it'll be a good amount for the other half.
Okay.
Are we being heard on the mic while she's playing that right now?
They can hear us.
Yeah.
But it won't be. It's not obviously going over the recording.
It's not the recording, but it will be on Zoom.
Okay.
I learned that part. Okay.
But that was good. I was just gonna really just compliment, Dale on a really good. I mean, this is wonderful. Just hearing what he's doing with the Million Cups and a number of those initiatives, especially for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, we'll be able to when we come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charles, it sounds great, the work that you're doing. We do have people who come into our program who or for whom the business idea, the concept is something in the construction and trades-based sectors. And so we've seen people benefit from some of the core curriculum as it applies to their businesses.
Yeah.
We're not
Oh,
doing weather today, so-
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay.
Like I said, it's,
Did you turn it down in the, can you turn up the?
Find out how we can help business owners from all backgrounds connect with the opportunities they need to succeed. The Henrico EDA is here for you.
Mhm.
Discover more at henrico.com. Did you know Henrico offers a variety of economic incentives to help you start and grow your business? Visit henrico.com to learn more.
Hi, Stephanie Michelle here of Mama Show Cafe, home of the Soul Roll, located at 10811 Holster Road. Give us a call at 804-912-1644 or order online at mamashelf.com. Ask about our off-site catering options as well as our online ordering through Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. Follow us on all social media at Mama Shelf Cafe. That's Mama Shelf, sold south of the J. Mention Mike on the mic and get a free dessert on us. Special rules.
Hello, I'm John Brandt, Executive Director of the Colonial Heights Chamber of Commerce. We are a collaboration of business, government, and school professionals with a goal to enhance the Colonial Heights business community. When you join the Colonial Heights Chamber, you receive access to our weekly newsletter, monthly membership networking luncheon, our bi-monthly community connections group, and so much more. These features can help you enhance your economic success personally and professionally in the Colonial Heights community. Learn more, join today at colonialheightschamber.com.
Hey everyone, it's Heather Marie Speaks, and I'm on the mic with Mike on Mondays at 6 a.m. on 106.1 FM, bringing you encouragement, motivation, and mental health awareness with a little bit of fashion infused. Join me every Monday at 6 a.m. on 106.1 FM. And I want to personally invite you to my newest venture,
All right, we're back.
Company, an English teen wine
Okay,
and
so
located at 21 West Main
Reba
Street in downtown Richmond.
and
Come enjoy
Jason.
high tea, host your special event, or stop by for
Okay.
some self-care and mental health, and just enjoy a nice cup of tea. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Say Jay-Z and Hill, Reba.
Mhm.
With his own talk show on the mic with Mike is the best business radio program in the game.
Hi, I'm Reba Hollingsworth with CBS 6, and I was on the mic with Mike and had a fabulous time. Make sure you tune in.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the mic with Mike. I'd like to thank those folks for giving us a shout out, leading morning personality here, Reba Hollingsworth, as well as the other gentleman who is rather famous.
I would say so.
I would say so. We ain't saying names.
No names.
We're not saying names because the legal
We don't
the
want
legal
those
fees.
kind of problems
Yes,
either.
we
That's
don't.
correct.
So we're just gonna say thank him. But with us, we got another rock star. Dale Fickett is here with us. RVA Works. Dale, you talked to a lot of people who's out there. Mike King, Charles Wilson here at ESPN Richmond. Dale, you talked to a ton of people out there. I always ask people, what's the mood in the street? What are the streets saying about business?
Yeah, so from my street corner, I would say the mood is pretty positive and upbeat. I mean, we've seen a specific and noteworthy increase in terms of economic growth. I mean, if you look at the numbers, you have a 6.4% GDP growth. There's a lot of positive indicators out there. I think even as the fiscal stimulus kind of winds down, I think we're still going to see a lot of that rippling through the economy, through a lot of those dollars being pushed through state and municipal agencies. I think there's a lot of positive movement, and people, as they're vaccinated, are thinking ahead to summer vacations. I know a lot of people are planning how to spend some of those funds that they've gotten. So I think generally there's a lot of excitement out there. We saw in 2020 an incredible number of new business licenses. There's a huge spike nationally in that area. And so I think overall we're seeing a couple of challenges. I think overall people are pretty positive, would be my take, Mike.
What is, when you say the challenges, what are people saying besides workers?
Yeah, so I think on the challenges side, the low interest rate environment that we're in currently, the Fed has committed really to loose monetary policy. We're seeing that, I think Now the 10-year treasury yield is about 1.5%. And, the Fed is buying 120 billion of bonds on a monthly basis. So that sort of loose monetary policy means that we have a lot of inflationary fears. We're seeing some of that inflationary pressure. We've seen an uptick in terms of the consumer price index. So that is rippling through in terms of what's happening on the prices we're paying. The low interest rate environments are great in terms of what's happening with residential housing. So if people happen to own real estate, it's a great time to be selling. It's not so great of a time to be buying. And the low interest rate environment also helps business owners who are tapping a home equity line to fund their business. On the other side, if you don't happen to own real estate, then it's a different calculation, and then it looks more like pricing fears for and a fear about the rising of prices on supplies. On the supply side, the other challenge that I would raise are some of the supply chain disruptions that we've seen. Probably the most noteworthy one, at least the one that I hear a lot about, has to do with lumber. But it's not only lumber. There's other supply chain kind of, I suppose, interruptions that the pandemic has caused. And so we think about that whole kind of huge chain. We can think of it as a multi-company conveyor belt bringing different products to market. And some of the pandemic interruptions affected things that are, several levels removed, and so further upstream. And so when we think about that, we could see other disruptions in terms of mining, precious metals, lumber. Certainly, the price has gone up there. So there are some challenges, but I think overall there's still a pretty healthy attitude about building new businesses.
On the mic with Mike, Charles Wilson, CW Consulting here, Dale Fickett. So Dale, let me ask you this. When there's an increase, like you said, a shortage with lumber, is the person in the industry, whatever that industry, is able to pass on 100% of that increase? Or what happens to business owners when they can't pass along, when the public isn't willing to accept all of the increase?
Yeah, so the pricing, particularly in, let's say, residential housing, a lot, and I'm sure that Charles can weigh in here as well. That pricing tends to be on a time and materials basis. So in most cases, construction companies, carpenters and so forth, are able to pass on most of the materials cost as they write up those bids. Now, there is still a degree of competitive pressure. So it's not just, we can just kind of pass on all of the cost. I think on the material side, that may be the case, but then, there's a sort of response from the consumer that's saying, whoa, I had no idea that it was going to cost this much. And then that's where it gets into the negotiation range. And that negotiation range really has to do with the extent to which the contractor has built in their profit on the deal. And so we could see a little bit of compression on profits in that sector. But, I think the competitive dynamics vary industry by industry. I don't know, Charles, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm hearing as far as contractors are going, that they're putting language in their contracts that actually speak to the changes that may come, because they're saying, hey, the price of lumber, so to speak, is this price, but we're leaving in some room for there to be a potential increase or change based upon the volatility of the market. So I think some of the contractors are sort of being smart about that with how they're drafting their contracts. And I think there just needs to be the consumers have to be educated on this as well. We can't sort of leave it to the agents to do all the work. There has to be some due diligence to say, okay, what things are going to impact or affect me in this particular market with the things that I want to purchase. So I think you're dead on with some of those pieces. To your point, Mike, I don't think everything can get passed on, but for the most part, and we talk about this even when we speak about tariffs, right? Eventually, it's more than likely going to come back down to the consumer having to absorb most of that, if we like it or not.
Okay, so on the mic with Mike, I say we bring the best and the brightest gentlemen. How can entrepreneurs who are out there doing their work all of a sudden take and turn that into closing deals. That now the price isn't the price is the price. The price is the price is the price, but it's contingent upon lumber pricing, food pricing, all those things. Help our business owners figure out a way to close the deal and explain that to their prospect.
Yeah, so for me, Mike, I think that the advice is pretty standard, and that's look at your closest comparables. So when we're talking with people about pricing, and believe me, I'm well aware of the complexity that goes into pricing and profitability optimization. But I think for most small business owners, it comes down to looking at 2 or 3 competitors, understanding what they're bidding jobs at, to get as much market intelligence as you can and to be within a range of reason. I think, to me, that's what you always want to do. Now, I love Charles's point just about some of those timing factors, right? And so if I'm bidding a job today and this is how much we're pricing in the lumber, that's great. But, we also need to bear in mind that cost may change over time. And I think it's really smart to have some clauses in those contracts that reflect the fact that if prices of certain materials go up, then that'll change the bid.
I think sometimes even with that starting point for businesses based upon where they are in their sort of maturation, sometimes they don't know where to start. And early or younger business, when I mean younger, I mean as far as how long they've been in business, sometimes don't know how to bid. They don't know how to start and what things to account for in the bids that they're going after. And so I think that's where relationships matter. I think having people like Dale in your network, if you can, or having that allows you to know where you need to start, where you need to go, what things you need to leave room for, because you can find yourself not profitable, or you can find yourself bidding yourself out of contention because you don't have that's template or that standard. So it takes time, and a humility to say, I don't know. And hopefully that there's a willingness with people who are more experienced to help you get in on that part. That's where that mentorship really does matter.
That's true. Dale, could you touch on range of reason? That, that's something, that's for the folks in the back. Drop some knowledge on us about that one.
Yeah, so if I'm looking at a particular price, typically when I'm bidding something out, I need to put myself in the other person's shoes, right? And a lot of times, we are just boom, boom, boom in the middle of everything we're doing, the next goal, the next objective, the milestone, and so forth. And for most of us that are out there in business, it's 100 miles an hour, 7 days a week. And so the range of reason there, I guess I'm just articulating the fact that we need to put ourselves in the customer shoes, the client shoes, or the buyer's shoes to understand where they're coming from, right? Because what we're trying to do is to seal a deal, as you said, Mike. And I think that's a great way to think about it. So if we want to do that, and we want to come across as a business person with a degree of acumen, we want to make sure that whatever documentation, bid, proposal we're putting on the table is going to make sense from their perspective. And so the range of reason means that, if for example, I was to look at 3 or 4 competitors, and using this example about a construction firm, I'm looking at 3 or 4 competitors. What are they bidding out in terms of materials, particularly now that we're seeing this volatility? What are they bidding out in terms of materials? Where are they in terms of time, hourly rate, daily rate, or subcontractor rates? And making sure that when I'm bidding, that I'm estimating in the right types of costs. And to Charles's point, I think a great way to do that is to talk with some industry people to make sure that there's nothing that you're leaving out. But also at the same time, want to make sure that when we're pulling together the time and materials, that at the end, the sort of bottom line number of this is how much it will cost, that as we do that, we're also able to show and in our minds, not necessarily show the customer, but in our minds and on our side, we're able to see that 3 or 4 competitors would bid within a particular range, the top end, bottom end, and we want to be somewhere within that range.
I have a question, if I could. My
Go ahead.
closes. So what are you excited about, Dale, The region is going, it's doing some beautiful things. What quickly, if you could share things you're excited about for the business community in the next, let's say, year?
Yeah, so, so a few things come to mind, Charles, and thank you for that question. So the first thing that I'm really excited about is the fact that Richmond is a great place to start a business. So we have a really strong arts and creative community. We have a lot of, and specifically statewide, we have a lot of assets to leverage in terms of technology and sciences, engineering, and when we think of functions of our geography, we are, in close proximity to the Port of Virginia. We're also within a day's drive from most of the Eastern Seaboard. So a huge percentage of the US population is within a day's drive from Richmond. So I think we're actually in a really great spot to grow as an even stronger entrepreneurial ecosystem, because there's a lot of people that are still very, very excited about that. I think that's one. The second area is that in the world of entrepreneurship, we're seeing this divergence between those services which can be provided digitally and those which have to really be provided in a place-based manner. So on the place-based side, which is what most urban planners and economic development officials would be thinking about, I'm excited by the ideas that we're having some really important national discussions about compliance, the cost of compliance, efficiency around regulation. Hopefully we'll see some of the fruits of those labors locally. I think that's a really important area of opportunity at state and municipal level. And then on the digital side, I think there's just a whole range of different things that are rolling through a lot of the support mechanisms. For example, virtual accelerators. When we think of the learning opportunities, we're doing much more over Zoom in this format.
All right,
So,
Dale, really quickly, you got to wrap up. I'm getting the wrap up. Sorry about that. It's always
okay.
always good. How can people find you to get more information that you're out there offering?
Okay, sure. So easy to get in touch with me. It's Dale, D-A-L-E .fickett, F-I-C-K-E-T-T @rvaworks.org, or people can hit me up on the cell. Feel free to text 804-335-7198.
All righty, always great. We talked to our friend Dale, doing big things out there. Dale, we'll talk to you later. Ladies and gentlemen, Dale Fickett, RVA Works, Trellis, Open Trellis, among other things. We'll talk to you soon, man. Take care.
Dale.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Bye.